We were a group that has been now for a few hours, so yesterday, discussing how to approach this area. And we started out talking about what are important qualities to achieve in the area, using images of other places, but also talking about precious places in Tallinn. What are the Tallinn quality that we want to transfer into this area? And a lot of things that came up was, of course, about experiences, about people, about activities, about things that we want to see in the future. And these are some images, just giving you some impressions of the diversity of spaces that we would love to see come here in the future. And we distilled some of these qualities. We realized that they all had two very important elements. One was the keyword diversity. Diversity of experiences, and not necessarily alone and apart as separate things, but actually qualities that could be in the same space or over time. So these are some of the altering experiences we would like to give people in order to get people to walk down to the water. It's combining alone and apart, small spaces with a big experience of the water, small spaces that gives you a little hint of a promise further along. Combining city life and nature, combining the everyday with the weekend and the private and the public. And the other big important part was creating a walkable environment, everything about pedestrian safety, making sure that we can walk within our classic 5-minute walking distance, that we have the proximity to all these great things. So the idea is to start building a network of pearls with great connections in between to lead people down to the water. And some of the guiding principles we would like for the whole area to have is offering spaces where you can relax, where you can contemplate and make restoration of your busy minds that we all have, creating places that are safe and friendly for all users, creating a very authentic identity that builds both on the old history of the city, but also the new future. And creating urban experiences, and that could be something like exploring the unknown, that's something about the spatial qualities that makes us feel good. And of course, the walkability. And then we discussed what types of tools do we have? What is important to start with? And we said that something can be fleeting. It's really important to have something that is different from time to time. Events, interventions, actions. Some things we need to plan for that are flexible. That could be temporary solutions. It could be, you have some really good examples from Tallinn, like that straw, what was that? That straw theater, or the cultural kilometer as an example of something that is temporary but for a long time. And then we have the fixed, that is the physical elements of the city, the crossings, the infrastructure element that also have to be in a place. But I think that these three, they work with different time frames. Something is forever, something is reoccurring, and something pops up. And we need all three of them. Where to start? We talked a lot about time, maybe not so much about the actual solutions, but how to do things. And we thought it was important to do a people-oriented process. So where do we start? We need to go to people, start where people are already and where people want to go, so we have a likelihood of success. We want to engage people, so in order to start with something that can actually have everyone on board, it's not only a design competition, but it's actually thinking about creating projects that could involve all of you, developers, other people in this process. And then the important thing that the first things we do needs to be impact people. It needs to show a different way of building and developing a new city. So we said, okay, how can we create this by actually thinking of a process, roadmap we called it. We want to go here. This is a vision of the finished area, and here we are now. So what are the steps to actually come to the vision? And we discussed a lot this first phase, what to do now. And we said that one thing is creating a public space plan that is really looking at the end product, like what are the spaces, what should they do in the future? Where should there be green spaces, hard spaces, small spaces? And then also thinking about the very first 5 years, we need a process plan in order to activate and stimulate the area so it can grow. And we thought the very first interesting thing we would like to recommend to do is to have this three-part approach, which one thing is about the orgware, the organization. Can we actually create a public life and public space, not department, but organization that can follow this process and make sure that spaces and people are actually a part of the whole process? Something about this process plan, not thinking about how to do it, and then of course something about the long-term public space plan. And this is a result. Of course we're messy, but this is a thing. All these ideas, how to get there, where to start. So the idea of the chain of pearls, of course we need a network. We need a lot of small places that brings us down. So where to start? We have a series of destinations already. Some are strong, and some are there, but maybe not as strong, and some are smaller. So starting where people already are, where there's something to build on, and then we can strengthen some of these key nodes in order to create this sequence of experience and changing experience. And then we realize that we have this project upcoming with new bike lanes and better pedestrian, and this is, of course, an important street, and also the recreational cultural kilometer. And we thought it could be interesting to actually connect the everyday street and mobility with a recreational street, so we can actually make it easier for people working to go out and recreate. And then we thought that this was maybe a good starting point, but not the end result, but maybe the first step towards generating more change. And it's really something about the existing situations where we have some potential, and then we have some missing links that we need to focus on in order to create this connection. We have destinations, we have small ones we want to make bigger, and then we have experiences on the way. So thinking that these catalyst projects or these catalyst spaces could actually generate more change over time. And it's all about not thinking a project, an event, but really trying to say that in order to have a learning process, to measure first, to see who's out there, how many people are walking, and then to test something and not say that it's a final project, but let's do something in the space and see what happens and establish new behavior and ask people how they experience it, to then learn from that and refine as time goes by. So that's sort of the principle for the process design. Comments? No? Questions? So more about how than exactly what.
We have a second microphone, so really feel to ask anything. Or comments from the same group.
Oh? Yes.
No comments. It was very comprehensive and described exactly what we did 2 days.
Okay. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe just to emphasize the importance of the first steps. Like we had the roadmap there, which showed that we have to have the final vision, plus we have to create the short-term visions, these 5-year concepts, which consist, I don't know, whatever smaller projects. But in the same time, yeah, if you go to the next one, I think, and one more. Yeah, okay. And in the same time, yeah, we have some really like these emergency situations which stop right now the development of the area. For example, yeah, the connection between the Admiralteedi and Rotermanni, and it's actually something we should start like fixing us up as soon as possible. So we have actually 3 things that we should do in the same time: end vision, the short-term smaller projects, plus start to like repair the like mistakes that are existing.
I think that maybe it's important to emphasize the importance of these small spaces. There was some schemes about this, that everywhere are the possibilities for creating different very small spaces that together form a very diverse city. I think this is one of the important aims. And also, maybe here is important avoiding the mistakes. We spoke about one example for this parking area of Northern Centrum, for example. This is a mistake in city, but that is not good for people. And that is not good. There is no small spaces. There is one large space, parking area. This is one example. And I think very important is to avoid such kind of spaces in the future. The new space consists of many small spaces. Then we see a good city space as a whole. And this should be connected. And all these connected parts, maybe we can see these lines, and these lines are like small plots, and everywhere are important small spaces. This is like something that we wanted to say with this presentation. And äkki ma räägin eesti keeles ühest näitest. Sest ma ei saa seda ütlemata jätta, ma arvan, et see on oluline siin välja tuua, sest ma toon välja ka nagu vahelduseks nagu ebameeldivad asjad. Et muidu me räägime kõige ilusast tulevikust ja kõigest sellest, mida me loome, aga mis tegelikult meil praegu toimub. Et me teame, see on nagu suunatud natukene linnaametnikele, et kes siin ümberringiga istuvad. Me teame lihtsalt seda, et Reidi tee ehitusprojekt kiideti eile heaks, aga see on selline ehitusprojekt, mis räägib kõigele sellele vastu, millega me siin tegeleme. Ja siin on nagu selline oht, et me teeme praegu nagu püüame luua head ruumi, aga tegelikult me samal ajal pannakse 10 miljonid eurot ühte kohta, mida tuleb tulevikus uuesti muutma ja parandama hakata. Et tähendab, selliseid vigu me peaksime vältima või vähemasti võtke äkki see Reidi tee ehitusprojekt uuesti lauale ja mõelge see läbi, kas seal on head, kas see loob häid ruume inimestele olemiseks ja nii edasi ja nii edasi. Okei, aga see oli vahemärkuseks.
Jätame selle siis peale järgmist paneeli aruteluks. But one more short comment.
Yeah, just one short comment. Although we said that we don't have any comments, we all have. I really would like to emphasize something that Eva said. In this process of designing new space, the evaluation and assessment and measurement part, this is what you have done all the time in your successful projects. You pre-test, then you measure what is happening, how the process is going, and you post-test. And this is what all the scientists very much like. And maybe we could learn the ways and methods to do it ourselves. We haven't done it in Tallinn so much yet. Thank you.
Well, I would end this with my comment. I totally agree with Grete's last comment, and then I just wanted to say that the measurement unit of that kind of projects over the time cannot be the actual quality of things, spaces, design of something or like that. It's the person, it's the individual who are walking on this street, and then if we will measure the success of the project through the time, not in the end of the project, but through the time, then always we have to realize that measurement unit is walking person of this public space we are creating here. Thank you.
And another good measurement is happiness,
Yeah.
to ask if people like the space and are content.
Okay, but thank you for the first group, and we will continue with the second one.